Good afternoon, fellow YouTubers. Today I thought I would do something a little different. Instead of just showing you a video of my trains running around on my layout, I would show you how I overcame a problem that all model railroaders, especially those that have a switching layout, have from time to time. And that's when your turnouts are too close together to allow you to have any type of a ground throw to move them back and forth, especially if you're not going to use like an under the table type of turnout throw or anything like that. So the situation I had is right here. As you can see, my turnout is too close to this other track here to allow me to put a ground throw in that would work like it should. So I looked on YouTube to see if anybody had any other ideas. I found Derek Glass's under the table manual ground throw with a spring-like device. I kind of like that idea, but I was looking around for something else. While I was doing that, I was thinking that maybe I could do something where I could tunnel underneath and put the ground throw to the outside. And I happened to stumble across Vinny's slideshow movie of video of how he did it. So I thought that would work out rather well. So I thought I would put together a video to show you how I did his version of that thing. This is one that's completed. As you can see, the ground throw is here. It's a Caboose Industries ground throw, and unfortunately I bumped it while I was preparing for this, and it broke it off the dried glue, so I had to glue it back down. But again, I tunneled underneath this road bed and underneath the turnout to allow me to put a probably not going to show well because my camera is not the greatest, but show where the wire come up through on the ground throw to move it back and forth. Again, I tunneled underneath. I figured that by the time I ballasted or painted and ballasted everything, that it would probably become almost invisible. And in reality, many prototypical systems had interlockings and things like that had the type of things that we have here. So I have the same problem here, where I've got a going to need a ground throw that's too close to this. The track is too close, so to allow me the ability to put a ground throw in. So what I'm going to do is going to put a piece of tubing through here with a wire inside, and put my ground throw down here to operate this turnout on the inside. So when I come back, I'll show you all the things that I used, and then we'll go through step by step how I actually did it. Okay, here, zoom back out a little bit. Here we have the items that I used. I'm sorry the lighting's not the greatest. I don't have the greatest lighting in my basement yet. I used a Dremel. This one happens to be a cordless one with a cutoff wheel. I've got a file, a pair of pliers, an X-Acto knife, some Caboose Industries ground throws, some wire that I picked up at Hobby Lobby. This is the wire I originally was going to use for Derek Glass's version of the ground throws. This happens to be, as you can see, .032 music wire, and I'm not sure what size. I think it's 1/16 inch. Yeah, 1/16 inch brass tubing. Be very careful of the brass tubing. It's very pliable, so again, you'll need some sort of a cutoff type of thing as opposed to like a pair of wire cutters or something like that, because you'll take and smash the end of the tubing down. I also have a 1/16 inch drill bit that I used to tunnel underneath that piece of flex track that to put that other piece of tubing in, but I've since pulled that piece of flex track up, so now I can just go ahead and use the X-Acto knife to put it in place. So when I come back, I'll show you what we're going to do and go from there. So here is where I need to need to take this turnout out. Unfortunately, I've already glued this track down, so I had to make it so I can just lift this turnout out so I can do everything I need to do. I was able to do the other one in place, but it was very difficult, so I made it so I could take this turnout out. So I lifted this turnout out. I don't think you can see it very well, my fingers right there. I stuck a T-pin with the top cut off so that I knew where the little hole in the turnout was to move it back, to be able to move this back and forth. So I knew where to begin to make my my cut in my cork road bed. Again, this track I'm going to take out completely and remove it so that I can get ready to put this, make the groove I need in the road bed to put the tubing through. Again, I'm going to use an X-Acto knife and cut this out. What I did before with that 1/16 inch drill bit is I just stuck it underneath the track that was already in place here and drilled out the routed out a hole there, milled out a hole, whatever term you want to use, and put it in place. So when I come back, we'll have the groove cut out for the turnout, and we'll move on. So at this point, I've routed out, milled out the road bed back here, and I've added a piece of road bed here that the ground throw is going to sit on. And I'm getting ready to put in the brass tubing and the piece of wire that goes through it. So I've already cut my piece of tubing to lay in here. And what I'll do then is I'll put some white glue, some tacky glue in here to hold that in place where it needs to be, so that it doesn't slide back and forth with the wire. Now all I did was I took my cutoff saw, or my cutoff wheel on my Dremel, as you can see here, and I zipped that off, and then used this file to file the hole on the end. I know it's not going to show up very well here, to take the burrs off of it. As always, anytime you do any type of grinding or anything like that, cutting, make sure you wear eye protection, and make sure you wear eye protection so that you don't hurt your eyes in any way. So when I come back, we'll have the wire in place, and we'll go from there. Okay, wearing my eye protection, I cut the wire off that goes inside the tubing. I cut it off long, and as you can see on the one end, it's going to go up to the turnout there. How well it will focus on there. But I put a little 90-degree turn on it to make sure that it's going to catch in the hole on the turnout, so that I can move it back and forth. One thing I forgot to mention also in your tools that you'll need is a pin vise. Because what I did was, on the Caboose Industries ground throw, they had this little, I refer to as a nipple, sticking down on the ground throw that would go into a hole on the normal ground throw, or the turnout, to pull it back and forth. Well, we're not going to use that because I'm using the wire instead. So what I did was I cut that little nipple off, as you can see here, and I put a small hole, drilled a small hole into the end of the ground throw to put back and forth, or so that the wire, when the wire goes in, it will pull it back and forth. So as we walk over here to to my workspace, as you can see, I've got my wire cut to the length I need. And I put some white glue in, tacky glue, into the tunnel that I put in. And what I did was then bent up, as you can see right here, I bent up the wire, and this will slip down in like so. Whoops, didn't do a very good job when you're trying to have hand-eye coordination through the camera. Okay, that fits through there. And I got it set up so that it's at the maximum throw. And what I'll do then at this point in time is we'll glue that ground throw down, and then it'll pull back and forth at this point in time. Put that where I need it. So when we come back, I'll take it, as you can see here, it's too long, so what I'll do is, again, I had to do the same thing here, as you can see. I don't know if you can see it very well, but my wire I had to cut, or make the 90-degree turn longer to fit up through the hole in the turnout. Again, I'm talking about right. Let me get something better to point with here. Right there, if it'll focus. There we go. And then again, I'll take the Dremel and just cut that extra off so it doesn't catch on the rolling stock as it goes by. I'll be right back. Okay, so now you can see that I've got the ground throw in place. I've got used T-pins, which have been probably one of the most wonderful things to use. This is a larger version of it. It's been wonderful in building this layout to hold the cork bed in place, hold the track in place, hold about anything in place. Again, so then now you can see that it works back and forth. Now right now the tubing is moving too with the wire, but as soon as that white glue dries, it'll hold it in place, and so that the wire will be able to slide in and out of that. And I put my track in where it belongs, right here, and this is what it'll look like. When I glue it down. Again, you can see the tubing come across. By the time I ballast it, paint it, all that, it should just about disappear. So again, we're working it here back and forth. As you can see, it slides it. This tubing doesn't move at all now that glue is dry in this particular turnout. And it holds it tight, and it does a really good job. So again, sorry for the poor lighting, not great camera work. This is one of the first how I did it videos. Again, it's not, I'm not saying this is the only way to do it, or it's just how I did it. Again, if I refer to it as a how-to video, then I'm inferring that I know what I'm doing, and I certainly don't. I've been learning a lot this craft. It's been enjoyable, and I thank you for watching. If you really like what you see, subscribe. Hopefully I'll have some more videos coming up. Thanks for watching. Bye.